Are we missing Marilla tonight?
Yes. And Hav.
You're going to take the minutes, Chuck?
I'll do my best, yeah.
All right, it's all set.
Thanks, Dave. Good evening. The meeting will now come to order. Welcome to the May 16th regular meeting of the West Hartford Commission of the Arts. My name is Chuck Corsi, and I'm the chair of the commission. This meeting is being conducted in a virtual format in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act as amended by Public Act number 21-2, which authorizes municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Members of the public can view the meeting live on West Hartford Community Television at www.whctv.org or YouTube/WHCTV5. Meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing and will be available on the town's website. Since we are conducting this meeting in a virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before we begin. First, I ask all participants to mute your device when you are not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you in the order I see hands raised. If you are participating via audio only or I do not call on you and the discussion is ending, then unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, all speakers must make a good faith effort to state the person's name and title at the outset of each occasion that such person participates in the meeting. Third, all votes must be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. I like that one. Fourth, a reminder that if any participant has a problem with connectivity, you should immediately call David, whose phone number you were provided earlier. He will let me know, and we will recess the meeting while the problem is being resolved. If it cannot be resolved quickly, we will ask you to call into the meeting using a phone and participate via audio only. So let's now proceed to the roll. Okay, Karen Bachman.
Here.
Matthew Bragg.
Here.
Javier Colon is absent. Chuck Corsi is here. Latanya Farrell. I know she's here.
Here.
Thanks, Latanya. Jenny Kemp.
Here.
Carol McCabe.
Here.
Marilla Pinedasor is absent, and Susan Rothenberg.
Here.
Great. Okay. Do I share the minutes with you all? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes, or is there any discussion or changes that folks would like to make? Anyone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Susan. Is there a second? Matt's a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. That's unanimous.
Aye.
We didn't have to take a roll call. Okay, great. Old business. Future development of St. Brigid School. Nothing new to report on that. Nothing also to report on the follow-up issues with the town of West Hartford on those three items. But we will keep on top of that. The Town Hall art and signage display recommendations. Let's talk a little bit about that. Last month's meeting, we came to an agreement on one part of that plan that we put together already, and that was on different uses on different floors, what makes sense on the different floors. Hearing no objection or no additional questions or comments from everyone, we're all set with that. Today, what I'd like to do, or tonight, is Ginny and I have spent some time going over, and I am going to share my screen. I've asked Mary not to text me any ice cream requests, as was at our last time I did this. So let's go Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, can everybody see that? I see nods. Anybody not see that? Okay, so the next thing that we want to do in this, in putting together this document that we will eventually bring to Essie and the town manager and ultimately the town council, was to talk about this public art, the criteria for display and the display policy. So what we've done in this document, and it's a little bit longer than the one we had last week, is kind of codify in here different situations and different rules. So what I will do, I think the best way to go through this is for me to read each Roman numeral and then see if anybody has any comments after that. Does that make sense to everyone? Feel free to nod. Okay, great. So, general purpose. In an effort to recognize and support local artists and enrich the lives of community members, Town Hall may also serve as a venue for West Hartford artists to display and showcase their work. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or criticisms on that? Okay, and I'm going to send everyone a copy of this if we make some edits to it tonight. I was reluctant to send a copy because it really wasn't enough time for you to take a look at it today. But this isn't going to be your only opportunity to weigh in. Okay, Roman numeral number 2. A West Hartford Town Hall Public Display Committee, West Hartford PDC, shall be appointed by the town manager and will meet annually or as needed to review applications for public display. Members may include town staff members, community artists, and representatives from local arts and culture organizations, including the West Hartford Commission of the Arts. Just a note about this. What happens, and actually what happened in the formation of this commission, is the town manager will ask for, or the town council in this commission's initial formulation, will ask for suggestions. So I think that although it's going to be the town manager that ultimately decides, I believe that we will be providing the names of people that we feel would make good members of this committee. What I don't have in here is how many people would be on this committee. Should be an odd number. Does anybody have any thoughts to that?
Chuck?
Yeah.
It's Matt. Yeah, I agree. It should be an odd number. I think, obviously you got a minimum of 3, but I think if it tends to get too large, then it can get really challenging to actually get things done or get consensus. So, we might want like upwards of 7, or, kind of have a limit. Some type of limit might be actually more valuable than the minimum size.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
I was thinking 7. I mean, I'm just that, I think it's important that we have a couple of members from this commission on. I think we should have some artists on. We may want to have somebody, representative from town staff on it. So already we're getting up towards that number. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to West Hartford Town upset. How about this? If I add right here, consisting of severance, consisting. Does that look? Doesn't need to. Well, I'm not going to do this every time. I can do these edits quickly, but I just want to. Okay, everybody fine with that second paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay, great. 3, the scope of items for public display shall include items owned by the town as well as those donated or loaned to the town of West Hartford. It's important to have that in there because it also covers things that are already up there. And, it kind of gives what we'll say eventually is that, orphan items, for lack of a better term, if we can't find who is, where they came from or whatever, we can decide what to do with them. Anybody have any questions, issues, comments, questions, criticisms? Okay. And since I can't see all of you, feel free to yell and speak up because I may not see your hand raised. 4, items not on loan become property of the town of West Hartford and may be disposed of at the discretion of the policy committee. I'm going to change that to just the acronym, just so we're consistent. Okay, Karen, I see your hand up. You're on mute. Can't hear you. Think. There you go.
Got it. I couldn't figure out how to get on unmute. I'm not sure what this means. So I'm a visual artist and I have something on display. Does that mean the town owns my property once I display it?
Because you've entered into an agreement with us to display it.
But you see where I got that. I mean, I understand. I didn't think that was our intention. But the scope of items for public display shall include items owned by, no, we're down on the one.
Yeah.
Items, oh, I see. Items not on loan. So what items are they if they're not on loan? They're the items they already own?
Yeah, it's that would include some of the stuff that's already up there.
Okay.
I don't think the 9/11 memorial. I don't think that was on loan. I don't think that kind of square thing that's outside the tax collector's office is on loan. There's a lot of things that are already up there. They've been up there for decades.
So you're covering the base that if the committee chooses to remove them, it's covered here. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Also, I think it covers if someone, it makes it more clear that if you donate a piece, anything to town hall, then it's owned by the town, and then it's the town's right to do whatever they want to with it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see down the road, and I'm glad you brought that up, Ginny. You'll see down the road, we don't have to accept everything. If people come and, want to give us all their art, this committee does not have to accept certain things. But if things are like just given away, if people just say, here, we're giving this to you, we don't want it back, and we decide it's worth hanging, that they lose all the rights to it in the future.
Right.
Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 5, application process. Items donated or loaned must complete a donor form, including photos of items for display consideration to the West Hartford, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to shorten that. Any items submitted for donation are not automatically accepted, but are rather only offered for consideration. A, the PDC shall consider any application to exhibit art at the West Hartford Town Hall or upon its grounds. The PDC shall judge applications and approve or disapprove them by a majority vote of the PDC members present on the basis of the criteria listed below. West Hartford artists. C, West Hartford artists shall be given priority. D, if an application to exhibit is disapproved, approved, the PDC shall explain why in writing to the applicant and inform the applicant that he or she may appeal the disapproval within 10 days to the town manager, whose decisions shall be final. If an application to exhibit is approved, the PDC shall negotiate the display area and period with the applicant and arrange for the exhibit's installation. F, displays in town hall shall be installed and curated by a paid professional. I got to tell you, in reading this over, just my own thoughts. D, I'm not terribly fond of D. And again, this is not my lane, this is not my area of expertise, and I defer to others. But do we need to provide a reason in writing? I mean, we have to give them. I guess we have to give some sort of explanation. But the whole appeal process.
I don't think we need the appeal process, Chuck. It's Carol speaking if you can't see me. But yeah, I don't think that's necessary. Because I think that, I don't know. I think once you make a decision, you make a decision.
Yeah.
And give them the reason. But I think that leads you down a road of who knows what.
Right. Jenny, you're someone that displays stuff. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think it's sort of overkill. You know, certainly we can explain why. I think that's reasonable. But yeah, I think appeals process might be sort of, you know, going a little too far.
And instead of disprove, that kind of sounds a little harsh. How about not accepted?
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, criticisms of any of these now three? Okay. Moving right along. Guidelines.
I'm sorry, I just had one question on that, I just realized. So, I thought it was interesting that you guys added in that, part of the responsibility of the donors to help arrange for the exhibit's installation. So, yeah, that's a good idea. So did you, Ginny, were you like envisioning that if there was some, needed, I don't know, way to put it up on a wall, if it was kind of an awkward piece or something that that the donor would help with that?
Can you tell me which part you're looking at?
The part where if an application is approved, yeah, we'll negotiate the displayer and period with the applicant and arrange for, the exhibit's installation. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I guess it doesn't read that way. I thought that they were helping to arrange for the exhibit's installation, maybe not.
But that's an excellent catch, Sue, because it could be interpreted that the artist has to pay for the installation.
No, why not?
Negotiate the display. I think it's, you know, it sort of makes sense to say that depending on the type of art that might be displayed in this gallery or this space could really vary, right? I mean, you might have someone that has really large scale pieces. So it might make sense to involve the artist in terms of, you know, brainstorming like best places on that first floor, where to put these pieces. You know, certain pieces might present better in like some of the hallways versus some pieces might look better in the you know, the larger lobby area. So I think it just sort of gives the committee some flexibility maybe, but I don't think it should be up to I think this my hope is that there truly will be a stipend available, funding available, so that there really can be a responsible point person on this committee who has experience, you know, installing art, who can, you know, be the main point person for the artist, you know. So I'm just thinking out loud, but
No, I think we need to make this clear. Because I don't think it should fall on the artist to have to, you know, if we want this to look professional and look safe and not damage the art.
right. I wonder if should we get rid of the word negotiate? 'Cause that sort of feels like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, if an application to exhibit is approved, the committee will, I don't know if we even need to say that, but you know, if we just leave that out and just say we'll come up with a
Can you say determine the display area and period? There's something that needs to be added there.
yes.
Period, the display area and period of display, or
Yeah, I like the
display-
word determine. That feels like a clearer word to me. Not negotiate just feels,
like it's a back and forth.
yes.
yeah. Because if someone comes in and says, "I want this in council chambers,"
Right.
Right.
we don't think it fits in council.
That's not a negotiation.
Yeah.
Right.
If an application is approved, shall determine the display area and period.
Period of display or duration of display.
That's what I think, I'm just gonna say the same, period of display, I think says it.
Why don't we take out and arrange the exhibits installation?
Because it's really in the next, is it F? You kind of say that in F.
Yeah. But we don't say who displays in town hall shall be installed and curated by a paid professional.
And I think you could actually simplify it further by saying shall determine the display area and duration with the applicant.
Yep. Duration of display, I think you should say though.
Wait a second. The display area and duration.
Fine.
Okay, shall determine the display area and, yeah. Okay. Displays in town hall shall be installed and curated by a paid professional. Why don't we just keep that as it is right now? And this might be a change that once we talk to the town, that's where we make our pitch. I mean, we're not talking, you know, thousands of dollars a year, I don't think. Or maybe we might be talking a couple of thousand. But this is, we want it done professionally, and we want it done safely and securely. And that's in the best interest of the town. And we shouldn't put that burden on the artist. Does everybody agree with that? I mean, that's just my opinion. Ginny, what do you think?
I agree.
Okay.
I mean, there might be some parameters that the artists need to take care of, like, you know, if it's a flat piece on a wall, they need to install hardware, you know, where the eyes and the wire needs to be. I mean, that we need to cover that here. If it's a three-dimensional piece, then that's different. But there's some things the artist might be responsible for, is what I'm trying to say, but not the installation. No, that should be taken care of by somebody who's in charge of doing that, who has experience.
Excellent. Okay. Everybody fine with Roman numeral 5?
Yep.
And again, I mean, thank Jenny really was an incredible help in putting this together, and you know, her thoughts on this, especially as someone who has done this. So,
Chuck, you did all of this. You're amazing.
Guidelines. Applications to exhibit will be judged with the PDC on the basis of originality, artistic quality, and suitability for a family setting. Dun, 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 dun. I'm sorry. I just had to get a little sound effect. We get into the A, originality. The artist's contribution to design and execution of their work should be substantial. Artistic quality. The AAC. What's that? Oh, that was an edit I stole from somebody else. The West Hartford Town Hall PDC shall take a broad view. Hard on my sleeve here. It's going to be broad view of artistic quality, but it may reject work that, in its judgment, falls short of acceptability for this reason. I think what we're doing here is giving ourselves some outs. And then finally, different standards of artistic quality may be appropriate for special exhibits. For example, children's
art. Take the L out.
Okay. Suitability for family setting. Works will not be accepted for display if the West Hartford Town Hall determines that they would upset viewers, including graphic depictions of sexuality or violence, works that appear designed to ridicule people who have beliefs or to disparage others for their race, gender, or sexual identity, ethnicity, or nationality. Since works of art are generally open to interpretation, it may be difficult to determine whether a work belongs in this category. Nonetheless, go again. May reject works that it considers offensive for these reasons.
Is it just offensive, or are we also thinking political? That works shouldn't be political.
I
think offensive is a pretty broad umbrella.
Yeah.
Because I think we want to leave it broad and leave room for the committee to make decisions and not like get too specific just on the guidelines. If they're broad enough that the committee could make a decision under that umbrella without having to get more specific.
Right.
Right.
I would replace the word reject with decline, maybe, just to, so it's not a judgment on the work, but we're just declining receiving it. So both in under B and where you are right now.
Reasons needs an S if you use these. The last word.
Excellent.
And under C, the main heading before you get to the bullet points, we might want to, if it determines that they could, very likely, instead of would.
Could, yes. Could. How about it's just so verbose? Could likely.
Yeah.
Upset viewers, including.
Maybe a colon after including.
Yeah, I think that second bullet, Karen, kind of captures everything. I mean, deeply held beliefs. Again, this is the one thing that I've always been uncomfortable about serving on this commission, is determining what's art and what isn't. But I think since this is a town hall, we have a responsibility to, have a broad, something that's open to interpretation, and that people go into this with their eyes wide open. It's not like, we let them put it up, and once they put it up, we say, oh no, we don't like that, take it down. People know the rules ahead of time.
Yeah.
And it is a public building. It's not a private business. Made a claim works that it considered, okay. Any other changes? And again, I'll email a copy of this to everyone after we're done. Selection criteria will also include, but will not be. Will also include, but are not limited to, the following: items reflecting community interests, unique local historical content, size of the artwork to be displayed, space requirements for viewing, length of time the work may remain on display, suitability for display, content, condition, value, subject or theme suitable for display area, and maintenance requirements. So this also gives us, maybe a wonderful, just a fabulous thing, but it might be too large for our area. Or it might be, somebody wants to hang a Picasso. I mean, it's an extreme thing. That's too expensive. We're not gonna, we don't want, something, $1 million piece of art up there.
Be too delicate for just,
Take a look.
You don't want something you have to insure.
I found
Right.
this on the web.
Siri is bothering me. Did you guys get any of that?
Get what?
What I just said?
Yes.
Okay.
Something's bothering you, but I don't know what it was.
Oh no, Siri was bothering me.
Oh.
Started offering me additional criteria.
Oh.
So what do y'all think of those criteria, additional criteria?
yeah, they sound good.
Okay.
Yep.
8.
To me.
Display periods. Exhibitions will generally run for 3 months, but the length of each exhibit is at the discretion of the PDC. Exhibiting artists assume responsibility for loss or damage and must sign a waiver to that effect. The PDC will not handle sales of displayed art. Exhibiting artists may prepare a letter-size sheet. Ginny, didn't you also want to add or plaque? It's something, a letter-size sheet with information about their work, including how purchases can be arranged for posting during the exhibit.
Yeah, or I think a label or a letter size sheet, or
The one thing I want to make, after complaining about for the last 6 months about all those pieces of paper that have been stuck on the wall telling people which way to go to the blood drive or whatever, I would prefer that whatever is put up is kind of nice and maybe in a little frame or something, something small and tasteful.
mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be in a frame, but it's uniform, that for every exhibit it's the same thing. They could be different sizes, just so there's some continuity between things.
Are you talking about, Chuck, so for each exhibit, sort of like a bio of the artist? Are you talking about something that explains the exhibit? Or are you talking about you know, because often in an exhibit, obviously you'd have several pieces of art, and next to each piece, there might be a small label with printed information, maybe the title of the piece, the value, something along those lines. Are you talking about
Yeah.
both those things, or?
I'm talking about all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think, and here's a spoiler alert for if you're anticipating our next move after this. The last piece is the form, the donor form, or the donor application. I think we need to spell that out somewhere. You know, this approved displayer must complete information. I don't even know what I'm searching for the right words. You know, display information about the piece or anything else. You know, limit to how many words. Maybe what we do, Jenny, is we tackle that in the donor in the form.
Yeah, or I wonder if we also, if we even need to mention that here, assuming that the public display committee, there'll be 7 people who are very well versed in, you know, how to display art, or, you know, are, and assuming, yeah, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, like, it would be very different, I imagine, if someone donates art to display. That would be really different than someone who loans something. But even then, maybe we could put something like to the effect of, it will be up to the public display committee to determine how the labeling will work or something. But I think that, you know, if an artist is going to do an exhibit, then they would work with this paid curator to come up with, you know, they would probably have a conversation, I imagine, like, okay, so, you know, when I've done exhibits, it's sort of, it's been different for different places, but oftentimes if you submit some work, then the labels that you submit the information you'd want for each piece, but then whoever's coordinating that exhibit would print that out and have that done, whatever, however they want that to look for their space. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Versus if someone donates a piece, then it would be up to the display committee to figure out how they want to present that in town hall. You know, so it feels like that should be something more that, like, a function of the public display committee. Do you know what I mean? In terms of how, depending on where it's going to be displayed and what the piece is.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming part of the goal for this public display committee is to have, I mean, I imagine continuity will be a big theme. So I don't know how much we need to get into that with this document. I don't know what other people think about that.
I totally agree. I think that it's not really part of the selection process. And it is something that, this is why we are saying there'd be a curator who would be involved in gathering that information and determining the best way to display it along with the art, so that it's there is consistency, to your point, Chuck, that it's, you know, visually it's appealing and, you know, portrays the information that's needed for each piece. Sometimes this will be as simple as you know, a title and a year and the artist, and other times there might be a little blurb, but that's probably not up to the selection committee.
Yeah, I think it's the charge to the curator. Make sure these all look the same. I mean, when I say look the same, you know, like the same color,
Yeah.
you know, same font. I just don't. I think we want to get away from what's the rule now at town hall, where you can slap anything up on the wall. You know, it doesn't have to be neat. It doesn't have to be typed. It can be, you know, people are putting signs up everywhere. We don't. We want it to look like a nice professional display, and I'm sure that the paid curator do that. So yeah, I'm just taking that out there. that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Removal of art. The artist is expected to remove their work at the end of the agreed upon display period. Should the artist fail to do so, the PDC may remove the work. Oh, is that ice cream? No. May remove the work. In such a case, the PDC shall take reasonable steps to reunite artist and work, but assumes no responsibility for damage or loss. The town of West Hartford does not have facilities for storing art. Courts have ruled that works of art accepted by a public agency for public display are forms of expression protected from censure by the Constitution. Accordingly, no work accepted for display shall be removed from display for reasons related to its expressive character before the artist has a reasonable opportunity for a hearing before the, this just makes my stomach turn. Let's go back to that in a second. With the approval of the PDC and proper notice to the town of West Hartford staff, the artist may remove their work before the end of the display period or substitute another work for those displayed. The PDC shall view the new work or photo thereof before approving a submission.
Or substitution.
Substitution. So
I don't think that belongs under, I mean, that belongs somewhere, but I don't know if it belongs under removal of art. Removal of art should really just say, how will art be removed? And the first one says it, A says it.
yeah. I don't think number B, and again, I borrowed a lot of this stuff from a few sources. I don't, and again, I'm going to lean on Ginny again. Do you think that that's something in your experience that you think needs to be there?
I don't know. I mean, that just feels like sort of like you're covering all the bases for like liability. I mean, it seems like a legal sort of thing. So I don't know.
Worse, it sounds like it was written by somebody who doesn't understand the law, because you know, no attorney would say courts have ruled and there's your authority. There'd be a citing.
Right.
There'd be, there'd be something that's more substantial than it. It just sounds like somebody trying to sound official without there being any real, authority involved. I mean, I would agree with what's been said. I think paragraph A, you could just remove the ABC and just do paragraph A.
Okay.
I
guess
think.
the only thing about C that would make sense to me in terms of, like, let's say, for example, there's an artist and their work's currently in town hall, and during that 3-month period, someone wants to buy a piece that's up on the wall.
Sure.
But in order to buy the piece, they really need it because they're hosting their daughter's wedding at their house. And so the artist then can come to the committee and say, hey, listen, sorry, but is there any way I can replace that piece with this? Here's, I'll email you a photo, blah, blah, blah. So I think, that could happen. And I think what's important about that is that it's still, the substitution still needs approval by the committee, right? Because it could be inappropriate. I don't know. It could be not appropriate for the space or whatever.
A lot of times when the artwork that's in a some type of a display is available for sale, it's generally delivered at the end of the display.
Right.
So, I mean, that could be notated elsewhere, or if we want to allow for, someone could have it up for a week. A lot of these people are, many artists in many cases can use the money more quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to be more generous to that regard, then I think you leave it in. And like you said, if there's going to be a substitution.
Right, because then maybe they could sell multiple pieces.
Yeah.
That's not the purpose of this. It's not a, I mean, I was thinking you leave it for the duration, or you could remove it under certain circumstances. But there's probably someone next in line. If there were 10 pieces chosen, there's probably a number 11 that would have been chosen had there been space. And it seems to me that's where number 11 should be. I'm not on the committee. The committee should be choosing that stuff. And we shouldn't be like putting it in here that they could replace it. The committee could decide that. You know, it's not, as I started thinking there, I was starting to think out loud that why are we deciding that? The committee could decide to let them replace it, or the committee could decide, nope, we have our, numbers here and there's a number 11. So if you want to remove it, we'll just substitute the one that came in. We're not putting things up in town hall so people can sell them. There are other places they can do that.
Well, I don't know.
I think we are, in a way. We're here to help the artists.
I don't know, Chuck, if I agree with that. We're here to show the art that exists in West Hartford, who's out there, their names are there, their contact information could be there. And if they choose to sell a piece and remove it from the sale, great, okay. I mean, not the sale, but the display, that's fine. But we're not there to keep putting more up so they can sell more. Put the next person up then. I mean, that's something the committee should decide.
I don't know. I sort of feel like, oh, I'm sorry. Go on, Karen. Sorry.
Well, the purpose isn't to sell art from artists. It's to display the art that exists in the community. And there's other things. We're not just talking about art that just got created. There's other things that will be up there. The purpose is to recognize and support them and enrich the lives of community members. Okay. But support, I don't know. I don't want to see it become a display for sales. Unless that's the purpose of it. I mean, if that's the purpose of an art show, then that's okay. Like all of the things are for sale, and like the Art League runs. I could see us doing that, or I could see the town hall doing something like that.
That's what I picture this, just for the first floor, this first floor exhibit that with rotating artists displaying their work. I see it as an opportunity for artists to generate some money from it. Not that we would be in the business of transaction or being part of the selling. And I think that's clear somewhere above there, Chuck, that would be just between the artist and the person purchasing. But my vote would be to allow the flexibility in there for the artist. If they sell a few pieces early on in the exhibit and they have the ability to replace it with something that's that works well with the existing exhibit and blends well with the pieces and is appropriate for town hall, I don't see a problem with that. And it just means more money for the artist, which I think is great, because I do think it is really hard to find places to exhibit your work and sell your work. So that would be my vote. But again, I don't think we should be in the it's we can't be in the business of selling art for sure. But if the artist, I think my vote would be to leave the door open for that artist.
So one thing just to add on to that, Chuck, I think that if we're going to allow works to be removed before the end of the display period, then just leave a wider door for the committee to walk through on replacement, and say it'll be up to the committee to determine what work will be used to replace the art for the remainder of the display duration, something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And it could be from them, or it could be like Karen said, hey, we made a tough choice, we picked you, and there was another one behind it that we liked a great deal too, and then we're going to put that one up, or they'll put up a new submission from the same artist.
The committee can decide that process. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. That's where we should leave it.
And I do think it would be very unusual I think it's very standard for if you have an exhibit up for a month or 2 months or 3 months up somewhere. I think it's very standard that that art stays there until the end. I think it would be rare for a buyer to say, oh, well, I want you to take that off the wall and I want it right now. You know, I think that would be unusual. So I don't think this would be an issue a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So you're stuck right there where your cursor is. So what's the sentence you want to put?
I'm thinking that shall determine what, if any, item will be displayed in its, fill the void. I'm not sure.
The committee shall determine a suitable replacement.
How about may? Because they might
May.
decide,
Then they say just leave it. Yeah. Mhm.
may determine
I found this on the web.
That's Siri.
Oh, Siri likes you.
She's doing research for you.
She's going to be asking you to get her ice cream.
Yeah.
may
All right.
determine a suitable, the appropriate. Don't do that, Chuck.
How about a suitable
Okay,
substitute?
you guys hear me?
I'm not sure I understand.
Siri, go away.
The problem is, my delete button is right next to my Siri button. Shall determine,
How about just choose a suitable substitution? Does it have to be determined? I mean, or determine a suitable substitution. Period. And then,
Get rid of the rest.
yeah. You can,
and
with the approval, you can say, and the,
I don't think they need the approval of town staff.
How about to the PDC?
Yeah, with the approval of the PDC.
Yeah.
How about with proper notice, with
Proper notice and approval of the PDC. Move the proper notice up. Yeah. And
proper notice to the, notice. And maybe get rid of the period after period and just say, and the, yeah, WHTH may choose a suitable substitution. Seems to be concise.
yeah.
mhm. Good.
Okay.
Perfect.
So what I'll do, I am going to save this. Stop sharing. I'm going to save this and send you all, and Hav and Marilla as well, something to look at. And we'll go from there. But in the next meeting, and then when I send you guys a copy, with the understanding that if you have any other corrections, please let me know before our June meeting. And then Ginny and we will take a stab at the submission form.
Thanks for all your work on this, Chuck.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you both.
Team effort.
Yep, great job.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. I do know that this document is going to be scrutinized by our town's corporation counsel, our friend Dallas Dodd.
Of course.
So we'll see what it looks like afterwards. Okay, let's moving along. Suggestions on how the commission can help and engage artists. Latanya, thank you very much for sending over that questionnaire. I thought that was fabulous.
Yeah.
Before I kind of present a couple ideas, does anybody else have anything they want to bring up or present on that topic? So I was thinking we should make an effort to encourage folks to come to these meetings and speak during the public comment portion. Because that's the best time. I mean, we're all together. And what we can do is we can put together a press release, and it's something Hav and Latanya can work on as part of the artist outreach, and just talk to Ronnie and get an article that talks about we're here to help. We want to hear from artists on what we can do. We meet the first or the third Monday. Maybe we even think about moving up public comment earlier in our agenda so they don't have to sit through, or maybe not.
Good idea.
But yeah, I think so. And just say, look, everybody, folks have a 3-minute 3 minutes to speak, but that doesn't mean after 3 minutes, we forget about you. It's just an introduction, and you're presenting your ideas, and then we as board members or commission members can then have an offline discussion with these people and get a little bit more down into the details about how we can help, and bring it back to the commission for consideration. I think more than anything, I think it's important that people know that we're here and that we're here to help. And we can, I think the form that Latanya put out, that could be part of it. And people can go, if they don't want to come to our meetings, they could go to our the collaborative's website and fill out a form with their ideas. We can even make it a point to read if we get any forms or requests over the course of a month, to read them at the next meeting. And I'm not thinking we have this meeting, which is a great resource and it's open to the public. Be a good to try and use it for that. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Or
I think that's a great idea, getting some press on it.
Yep.
Connecting with Ronnie Newton, correct?
Yes.
Okay, connecting with Ronnie. And I'll see if I can even reach out to, I'll send Scott Haney a text to see if we can't even just get on there to,
Absolutely.
if you all know of any other people that maybe we can reach out to, or have a connection for us to reach out to, we'll definitely do it so that we can just get the ball rolling on this, and just so we can get the word out. But Chuck, I like your idea a lot of having, inviting folks to come out to this meeting so that they know that we are here and that we're here for them. So come on out and share any ideas. You don't have to stay for the whole meeting. I wonder if they recognize. I know that I myself, as a local artist, didn't really recognize this until you approached me, really. So.
Yeah. Why don't I'll put together a couple of bullets, talking points, a rough release that we can use as a jumping off point, and I'll share it, Latanya, with you and Hav.
Okay.
And let you think, and then once we have something that we agree on, then we can go out to the world and start reaching out to our friends in the media.
That'd be great.
And we can get some of our friends, whether it's the town. Renee McHugh puts out a newsletter every week. The library puts out something. We can, maybe the chamber will help us out. The town of West Hartford is a member of the chamber, and we are part of the town of West Hartford. So we can get the message out there in a couple of different ways.
So in terms of the questionnaire that Latanya designed, how were we choosing to disseminate it? Like, how are we getting it out? Were we using the list we already have from people who signed on to that artist registry or whatever we want to call it? Were we gonna, and one way is sort of to get it out to what you're just talking about, these other sources of publicity and outreach. But it's a form, it needs a link, it needs to sit somewhere. Is it sitting on the collaborative website? Is that,
I would,
I mean, I don't understand how we're going to get it out to people, because I don't understand it so well. I thought it was a wonderful form.
yeah, I
I
think
mean,
it could reside. I mean, Latanya, it needs a home, right?
Right.
Yeah, we could get it. Well, I'll talk to Stephanie and see if she can put a link.
Okay, that would be great.
And that would be, and it'll also drive traffic to their website. And I think
Yep.
what we do in all of our media interviews or press releases, we give that link. And then we can also, we have, there's a ton of social media platforms that we can promote this on. The Collaborative's one, there's at least 4 different, between West Hartford, Greater Hartford, there's about 6 artist Facebook pages that we could, promote this on. Yeah, and I think by having the Collaborative host it, and that would be helpful.
but we're not doing any direct outreach to the artists who've already signed up on that thing. We're
We
not using
could.
that.
But no, we could send it to them. We have all their,
Yeah.
we could send it to them.
Yep.
I think far and wide.
Because they're a captive audience. They took the effort to get onto the thing.
Yep.
Do we have any sense of the effectiveness of it? I know one way to look at it is that we had people sign up. Do we know if it's been used, if they've established any kind of business through it?
I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
'cause
I don't know that either, but I could create an email to them and ask
Mhm.
them.
Or is it possible to
Feedback.
just put the question onto the survey? I know that if you've been on the registry or whatever we're calling that, did you find it useful or whatever? I just wondered if it's been of any help. That's all.
Yeah, I think.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I don't think, because we might confuse people if we put it on the one that Latanya.
Yeah, I understand. As I was saying it, I got that. Yeah.
But no, I think it's and we can also email these people and say, hey, if you have any suggestion, here's a link. And also, were you able to get any business? Was this helpful? We're just following up. Actually ask them first, was this helpful? And 2, what suggestions, how can we be helpful to you? So again, we're always leading with, we're here. We want to help artists in our community.
Mhm.
And we're open to any and all ideas.
Yeah, that can be done. I can do that easily. Send out a separate email
Great.
to, I think there's 52 of them on that list, so I can easily send out a separate email asking those 2 questions in addition to linking the survey to the email so they can get that as
That'd be
well.
great. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So we got a plan on that. Excellent.
Mhm.
Any other discussion on how we can help artists? We're running late. So does anybody have, from the committee standpoint, does anybody have anything burning? Yes, Karen.
I do, from the collaborative.
Yeah.
We, at our last meeting, made a decision to do something simple and fun and low cost at Celebrate to show that there's a collaborative out there, and of course that there are a number of organizations, and that how could we encourage people to come to our booths, those of us who have booths, most of us do, and engage a little bit with the people at the booth. So we're going to run a bingo, and the bingo is simply just a card. It's as simple as can be. Lindsay from the symphony came up with this grid, and it's got each of our logos on it, and it'll have our URLs. And you pick it up at a central location, and we're going to get some advertising. It's going, the explanation of it and the picture of it's going into the supplement they put out, and they hand it out at Celebrate. And hopefully we'll encourage people, if we also have the cards at our booth, you go to the individual booths and you get a hole punch, and then you put it in a basket somewhere. We've got to figure that last part out. Or do we do it at the individual booths? You have to get so many punches. If it's 8 organizations, maybe it's 6 of 8 punches, and there are prizes, which we will list. But I mean, I'm happy to go to those prizes, you know, like 2 free tickets to the, to vouchers to the Playhouse. There's a gift certificate that can be used for art classes. There's 2 more tickets to the September program for TikTok. It's the play that the community theater. We're thinking of doing something for kids, the West Hartford, because our concert is too far away. It's in December. So we would maybe get a $25 ice cream certificate to one of the places in West Hartford Center. But basically, you know, it's worth it to go do it. And hopefully it'll get a few people moving around to the booths and see what people have to offer. Then we have a chance to give them our stuff too.
That's great.
Yeah, it was simple. It's amazing we could come up with it, but I'm pretty happy about it. I think it's going to work.
If you would like, I have season tickets to the Yard Goats, 4 seats right behind home plate. I give them away, and also has access to the Yard Goat Club up there, which is
okay, Chuck.
and it comes with parking. So I give them away for silent auction stuff. So.
Well, would you give them away for a jackpot pick, or if we could figure out how to do that?
Yeah.
You know, like, okay.
Let me know. And then I put a certificate together, and then whoever wins, they contact me and we figure out a date that works for them.
Okay. I'll put that in the pot. Thank you.
I'm interested also, Karen, did the collaborative ever talk about trying to get Juneteenth in Pride?
Yes, there are 2 people doing the outreach. Tracy volunteered to reach out to someone, and the thought was that Juneteenth is not an organization, it's an event. But somebody knows someone in that organization, and they're going to reach out. And the other organization, I think it's the one that was behind changing the name of the commons there, from what it was to what it is now.
Yes. It's concern. It's Ace Billing Smith and Concerned Parents of Children.
No, it's it's the West Hartford. Wasco, that's it. So there's a renewed effort to reach out to them as well. So yeah, that's in process. The problem is we don't meet but every 3 months.
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
And I really feel concerned that, you know, we have this collaborative, but that we don't present ourselves as a closed front. Like, there's room for growth. Everybody feels that way on the collaborative, and it's not a closed deal. Like, this is the collaborative and this is who it's going to be forevermore. That we need to keep open to all of that, and that's on the agenda. I mean, to figure out how we're going to do that. You know, there's some things to consider. There's a website to pay for, and how do you do that? Not that it's a big ticket item at all, given if you divide it up 8 or 10 ways. But yeah, there's that. There's some things we need to discuss as a group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other committee updates? I don't think we have any. And also, Dave, is there anybody that is on that would like to speak to the public, or anybody from the public that would like to speak to us?
We don't currently have any.
Okay, great. Does anybody have any new business that they'd like to bring up?
No.
Okay. No new. So good morning, good meeting. I think we had a lot accomplished. Would anyone care to make a motion to? Oh, you know what? Before we do that, who made the motion to approve the minutes, and who seconded? I think Sue.
And I seconded.
Matt and Sue. Yeah.
Okay, Sue and Matt. Yeah. Sue and Matt. And now, who would like to make a motion to adjourn?
I will, Carol.
Makes a motion. Who's going to second? Carol, Ginny. Just type that in. All in favor?
Bye.
Aye. All righty. Any opposed? Great. Thanks for a great meeting, guys. We'll talk to you
Thank you,
soon.
everyone.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye, everyone. Have a nice
Take
June.
care.
Thank
Bye
you very
now.
much.